Hi, welcome back to Thrifty in OKC. I am going to do a different video today and not show my face because I have been laying out in the sun all day and my hair is pulled back in a bandana and I look kind of homely. So I also want to just show you guys some things on the screen. This is the first time I've done this, so hopefully it goes okay. And what I am going to share with you today, hopefully, again, if it goes okay, are 5 things that I look for, maybe one bonus, but 5 things for sure that I look for when I go into a thrift store that looks like it's been pretty picked over. So one of the things that you'll probably hear a lot of resellers say is that the key to being a successful reseller is either really knowing one thing super well and kind of being known for that one thing, or knowing a lot about a lot of different things. And I'm more of knowing a lot about a lot of different things. And what makes me, I feel like, have some success sometimes where other people might not, is that when I go into a thrift store on a Sunday that looks like it's been pretty picked over already, because most of our thrifts here don't put anything out on the weekend, I have some categories that I look in that a lot of people don't look in. You're going to have a lot of people looking for toys like Legos and little pet shops and things like that, and designer clothes and designer shoes and video games, jewelry. Those are really common things that a lot of people look for. So when I go in on a Sunday and I feel like the place looks trash, like there's been tons of people in there, and I can't find anything in any of those other areas, these are some of the things that I look for. So one of the first things that I keep an eye out for, and this is always, I'd pick these up if I went in on a Friday morning and they had just restocked everything. But one of the things I look for that I think a lot of people are not super familiar with or do not look for are tarot cards. So I'm going to put that into the search bar here, hopefully, and hit search. Hopefully everybody who's watching knows how to search on eBay. If you don't, I'm assuming that you do, so I might go a little fast, and I apologize for that. So I'm going to look at completed. I might switch it to solds depending on how many there are. And then if you really want to see what some of the highest ones are, you can go up here to the sort and go to, I like to look at the highest first. And you're going to see that some of these are priced crazy. Now, I have not found anything that is worth this kind of money, tarot-wise, but I have found a couple of decks that I've sold for well over $100 to $200 that I picked up for like $3, $4, $5. A lot of people don't know the value in these, and they'll also sell them for cheap. And as you can see, there are a lot that can go for big money. A lot didn't sell here, but heck, I don't know what these people paid for these, but I'd be more than happy to even drop that $800 to $500, and maybe somebody would snatch it up. So I'm going to go kind of fast down here to the middle. You can see $649, $620. And anytime I find a tarot deck, I pick that bad boy up and I look it up and see what it's worth. So I'm going to go just to the middle because we're looking obviously at really specialized, and just see, but like $183.11, $202.50, $200. Don't know what that best offer, $200, $250 with the best offer, $200. And you can see, they sell. A lot of them sell. There's not a lot on here that are not sold. So definitely, of course, you're going to have some that sell for $10 or $15, but I feel like this is can be a really high return item. So if you see a deck of cards, and not all tarot cards say tarot on them, so pull them out, look at them. If you see a deck of cards, it's definitely worth checking out. So that's my first one. That's one of the first ones that I always look at. So another thing on the opposite side of tarot cards that we look a lot at are Bibles. So I'm going to search here for Bibles, and let's see what we get. Surprisingly enough, in the books, a lot of times people are looking for textbooks or old books, vintage books, but Bibles can go for good money. Again, we're starting here at the top and just kind of working our way down. I didn't really know a lot about Bibles until actually we kind of started picking them up for FBA. If I found like an old vintage Bible, I would know to look that up, but some of these don't even seem that old. And they sell, like this R.L. Allen Bible, limited to 50 prints. Again, I would never know that unless I looked it up. Now, something like this one right here, I probably would have looked that up. That looks pretty specialized. I might have picked that out on my own. But again, I'm going to go down here to the bottom just because these are going to be your really high price Bibles. And let's kind of go down a little bit. Let's look at page 6 and see what we're looking at here. Again, nothing to sneeze at. $229, $230, $250, $230, and lots of greens. Bible sells, so check out Bibles. You know, one of the things that I always feel really bad about is that a lot of times when we go to church sales and we find Bibles, they try to give them to us for free. And my husband always insists on giving some money for the Bibles because we know we're going to sell them, and we feel it just feels not right to just take somebody's free Bible from the church. So just be leery of that. If you're the kind of person who likes to get something for free to sell, have at it. Go to some church sales, and they'll probably try to let you take the Bibles for free. So that's one of the second areas that I'll go into and look at. And again, you can filter these out, you know, on your own. Let's go to page 10 just for funsies. And I mean, we're still looking in the 180, 168, 175, 176, and lots of greens. Lots of these are selling. So many different variations of Bibles. So find them, pick them up, check them out. So that's my number 2 that I look for. So one of the number 3 things that I look for, I like to look in the craft section. Quite a few of, actually the last 3 that I have here are going to be something that you might find in the craft section. Most of my thrifts keep the crafts and the paper stuff together, like scrapbooking things. So I look for vintage stickers. I mean, obviously, you're going to see a lot of videos that are going to tell you look for vintage cross stitch, vintage, like the Buchilla felt stocking things. Check those out for sure. But a lot of people don't pick up vintage stickers. And you can see here, a lot of these are lots that I'm looking at right here. But these are going to be a lot of your 80s. Lisa Frank, Sandy Lion. Look at this. These are crazy to me. These are scratch and sniff stinky stickers. They're any scratch and sniff really of some of this brand. I don't know if it's the same brand, but scratch and sniff that are vintage can go for big money, especially still new in the package, obviously. So, you know, this will have, you can see, again, a lot of these are lots. And a lot of them, again, this vintage matte blueberry scratch and sniff sticker sheet. That's not even in its package. $207.50. That's crazy. So keep your eye out for vintage stickers. I'm a child of the mid to late 80s, early 90s. And man, stickers were the jam when I was in junior high. You had to have, I mean, I would spend hours and hours and hours in this little boutique called the Gift Horse trying to find stickers. And they would come in like roll-on things. And my mom would give me like $5, and it would take me 3 hours to pick out which ones I wanted. But again, obviously Lisa Frank, that's going to be a super hot one. But any scratch and sniff, $135.50. These are 2 Sandy Lion Pearly and Chromicoat birthday bears. I don't even know what that's. I had those stickers. Oh my gosh, $127.50 for just a couple of those little doodads. So stickers, vintage stickers. So also when I am over in the craft area, I like to look at buttons. So let me go into, I think I have to go into crafts to pull these. Hang tight here with me. I'm not saying that new buttons, not maker. Let's see here. Chanel, obviously. How did I find buttons before? Hang with me here. Okay, here we go. So vintage buttons. I don't even know what this is about here. I'm not an expert by any means on vintage buttons, but look at this fabulous listing. I don't know what these were. Let's see this original listing. Maybe I'll learn something new here while I'm doing this video. This is looks like it's in the box. Where did my picture go? There we go. It looks like those are still in the box. Look at those. $1,226. Who would not want to find that item and then sell that for $1,226? So I'm going to back it up here. You can see button sheets. Those did not sell for as much, but lots of, I mean, I see so many jars of buttons, just like jars of jewelry, but the buttons are not nearly priced what jewelry is. Could be a treasure in there. Look at these, $420 for these. I mean, they're gorgeous, but, of course, any kind of Chanel, St. John, you know, there's been quite a few times I found St. John with a lot of holes in it. And it's been priced fairly inexpensive. I buy that, take those buttons off and sell those. there is no sense in letting a perfectly good St. John button go to waste. I have never found Chanel buttons. That would be so exciting. But this is a gold vermeil filigree button, $298. You know, and just lots and lots of buttons. And I'm sure Bakelite, I don't know, I'm not searching for that, but I bet you that there's a lot of those out there that could go for good money. Again, somebody who knows something about that can help us out. These are things that I am not by any means an expert on. They're just things that I look at and then kind of attempt to look up. Buttons are a little bit harder to look up because obviously there's tons and tons of different kinds of buttons. And there are people out there who are button experts, so please weigh in if you are. You know, I would not know an Arita button if I saw one. I might now because I've done this video, but typically I buy jars and pick out ones that I like that I just think are pretty or look cool, and I list those up and sell them. I'm again, by no means an expert. I've probably missed out on money just because Lord knows I might have sold something that was really valuable and I didn't know. But, you know, just lots of buttons. Probably some of y'all have grandparents sitting around with button boxes with tons of buttons in them. So, and then one of the last ones I was going to share with you was vintage fabric. Let me see. I have to find this a certain way, or for some reason it pulls up a ton of Rolex. Really, I could probably do fabric here. I didn't look at just fabric. Let's just look at fabric. I tend to gravitate towards vintage things just because that's just me. And I started out reselling on Etsy for the most part. Was my core business for a really long time. So I gravitate towards to vintage as it is. But you can see fabric by itself. And I don't know if you guys do know this. You can filter just by sold. But this is going to show you a lot of different type of big fabrics. So let me go back up and put in vintage fabric. Now I have found for me personally, the more yardage I have, the better I do. And I don't cut it. So a lot of people will buy a lot of yardage and they will cut it and sell it by the yard. I have found with vintage fabrics, one of the selling points is to have a vintage fabric that is a lot of yardage altogether because, you know, if it's survived 60 or 70 years, likely it has been cut up. So like you see here, and a lot of these are not prints I would pick up. I pick up more kitschy stuff, but 1982, 20 yards, $499.95 plus shipping. Here's a 6 yards, $450. Laura Ashley, 16 plus yards, $395. So a lot of these good sellers are having large quantities. I do a lot of upholstery fabric and have done fairly decently. I've picked some up that I've sold for $350, $400 for like 10 yards. So look at fabric. A lot of people do not look at fabric. It's amazing. So like here's a Bread and Pink Jockey Silks fabric. Doesn't say the yardage, $250. Very kitschy looking though. I feel like I do really well with more kitschy looking fabrics. But looking on here, I see a lot of stuff that, oh, that's kind of cool. Turquoise and Pink Leopard Key West. That's kind of cool. 1960s. But I see a lot of stuff like, I would never pick that up. And somebody picked that up and made $217.50 on it. And that is not my jam at all. I would never have picked that up. So you gotta look it up. I mean, just like anything else. But again, fabric's going to be like buttons. I mean, it's really hard unless it's got a stamp on the selvage edge that tells you what the fabric is. And that selvage edge is a finished edge for those of you. I sew, so for those of you who don't sew, sometimes it can be hard to identify the exact fabric. But I think you can get a really good feel for different sorts of fabrics if you start looking at them. Like this one, I would probably have picked something like that up. A craft fabric. Let's jump just to page 3 just to get down in here. Quilt tops. I mean, that's not technically fabric, but I run across those all the time too. That's kind of a one-off sort of like fabric, sort of a bonus there. Quilt tops can sell for really good money. They don't have to be finished quilts. Some people don't want to piece it together, but they like the vibe of quilts. So, you know, just going down. But the quantity a lot of times is what makes the difference. So anyway, this is an advent calendar fabric panel, vintage. So that's just a panel, $139.95. Anyway, So fabric is another one. The other one that I wanted to mention that a lot of you probably pick up, but might not pick up year round, is going to be vintage Christmas. So, I mean, Christmas in general as well, but I'm a big fan. Oh, I'm in crafts here. I'm a big fan of vintage Christmas to pick up year round, and I sell it year round. So don't hold it up till January. Don't hold it up till December to list it. I mean, you can see. Well, this is pulling up all kinds of stuff. I maybe should have gone in a different. Let me go down here for a minute. Well, I mean, look at very rare vintage Snoopy Christmas ornaments, Japan, 1960s. Never in my life would I think that was worth $1,250. You know, again, some of this stuff looks old. I don't know that I would know the value of it. So Christmas is definitely, especially if it looks vintage, is worth a look, a closer look. Just, I love blow molds. I collect those. I think they're fabulous. Oh my gosh, look at all these blow molds. That's a weird picture right there. Anyway, just, keep your eye out. And if it looks like it's old, look at it a little bit closer and see what you can find. And I don't know all the names. I mean, I don't think you're going to find anybody who knows anything, who knows everything. You just have to really kind of start looking and be willing to look stuff up. So anyway, I'm going to go down. Let's go in the middle again. This has got all kinds of stuff having to do with Christmas. The Christmas tree lights, ornaments, shiny bright. Did I click on that? No, I did not. Animated displays, those do great. June Zimonic, I don't even know who that is. So again, something I don't know that I would have picked up. Nutcrackers, I've seen a lot of those sell for good money. So anyway, just, keep that in mind. And that's true of any holiday thing. I think you can sell it any time of year. I don't know, but especially Christmas. I don't think it being February versus it being September is going to make that much of a difference. So hopefully you learned something new in the video. Maybe not. Maybe you already looked for all of these things. But if you're new to reselling, these are some things to look for that I feel like people maybe don't look as closely at. Probably Christmas is the most common of all of them that somebody might already be looking at. But a lot of people skip that aisle when it's not close to Christmas. So hopefully you learned something. If you like what you heard today, give me a thumbs up and please subscribe. I am still trying to get my subscriber number up, so every subscription I so do appreciate. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.